And this time I need to update you on what's happening with the ZIG. I want to go back in time just a teeny weeny bit. Makes it hard for them to think that the dollar's going away, even in the face of inflation. And inflation in Zimbabwe has not yet calmed down.
What if the collapse of Zimbabwe's currency is more than just a distant headline? What if it's a preview of what's to come on a global scale? In today's video, Lynette Zang breaks down the unfolding currency disaster in Zimbabwe and reveals why it's a critical wake-up call for everyone. This isn't just about Zimbabwe, it's about your financial future. Stay with us, because understanding this crisis might be the key to navigating what's next.
And I'm going to show you why. Because, of course, we're seeing our stock market make all-time highs. Everything is rosy-tozy. And wow, there's all that liquidity that's sitting out there that could just drive that stock market up. Except that really that's about trying to keep pace with inflation and the inflation that's growing. And so we have a great example of Zimbabwe to look at. And with their market hitting new highs, what do we see? Zimbabwe's ZIG, so when they brought the new currency in that's supposed to be backed with gold in April, they reset the currency. And what do you have? The stock market just wiped out all of the gains because their currency was going back to what was original. Right? I mean, their currency was being reset to zero. That's really what I mean to say. So you're seeing a plunging stock market. But quite honestly, with the US and in other parts of the world, with the stock market going so high, I don't know, call me crazy. But 1 trillion times zero is zero. And what do central banks always do? This is what they do. They just print more money and then wonder, why are the stock market? Why is the real estate market? Why are these fiat money markets going up? It must be because the economy is so good. No. It's because they keep doing this. And it takes more and more of those dollars or anywhere you are in the world to buy the same amount of goods and services. And so because Zimbabwe has lost all confidence, what are they doing to get the confidence back? Well, their 6th iteration of money. And this one's called Zimbabwe Gold because they want you to think about it as gold. Well, is that happening? Well, let's see. Zimbabwe central banker stockpiles gold in a move to bolster the ZIG currency. And they target the gold reserves, and they do that. By the way, remember how they instituted those gold coins to help those 1%ers hold their purchasing power value? Well, when they brought the ZIG in, boom, gold coins scrapped. It seems to me like they could be at the beginning of a confiscation, but I don't know. I'll show you what I found, and you can figure that out for yourself. Gold coins are scrapped and redirected to build up their bullion reserves on which this new currency is considered backed. Zimbabwe says their push to ZIG is the sole currency. So they're basically trying to position their population to just use the ZIG. Now, you cannot convert that into the underlying gold, and so it's really not holding the government's toes to the fire. But if they can get everybody just to use the ZIG and no other currencies like the dollar or like gold, the sound money, then they've kind of got you where they want you again, don't they? But I'm telling you, unless you can convert whatever that intangible fiat money asset is into sound money, it ain't over yet. And we're watching it unfold. Can they regain the public confidence by doing that? Well, interestingly enough, hyperinflation is still fresh in the minds of most Zimbabweans, especially when they're continuing to see inflation rates of 96% officially. So even though they've converted to the new ZIG and some other things have cut back, like the stock market and other things, their inflation rate is still running high because they really haven't changed the behavior yet. They've vowed to not print more money than they have gold in reserves, but will the population believe it? Well, why should you believe it? They have abused the population so much. The only way to believe that they're serious this time, frankly, and I hope somebody there is listening to me and taking it to heart, if this is what they really want to do, then they have to give the public the tools to hold the government's toes to the fire. And the only tool that will really do that is if they have the ability to pull the gold out of the system. Just like we used to do in the U.S. prior to 1933. But gold reserves have grown 30%, boosted by stopping gold coin sales and through royalties that we are collecting from mining companies. And let me tell you, there are so many different ways that you can name confiscation without actually saying confiscation. And royalties is one of those. But if the ZIG, the paper ZIG or the electronic ZIG is the only currency that the population can transact in, then you've gone out of the frying pan into the fire and you have no alternative. It's kind of like in the US where everybody's used to dollars. It makes it hard for them to think that the dollar's going away, even in the face of inflation. And inflation in Zimbabwe has not yet calmed down. But hey, since April, Zimbabweans are using more of the gold-backed ZIG to pay for 40% of the transactions. Out of the chute, that was 20%. So on the face of it, it looks all right, pretty good. They're gaining more traction in there. But frankly, it's the government's use for 80% of trade that they're getting to use the ZIG for that's really keeping that kind of sort of propped up against other currencies. It's not real though. It's not real. But once that confidence is lost, I mean, I'm taking heed of this, but quite honestly, all governments and central bankers, you know darn well they're watching this. What is it going to take once that confidence is lost to regain that confidence? Can they do it? I'm telling you, it's having it convertible because that's what this is showing me as well. But I could be wrong. That's why I'm watching it so closely. And what I also find quite interesting is that currency exchanges, even though this was April, May, currency exchanges are still not using the ZIG. They're still using the old Zimbabwe currency. And so that chart looks really, really interesting, which is why I'm showing it to you. This is the US dollar versus the Zimbabwe currency. And you can clearly see this huge overnight reset and then months of nothing. And then all of a sudden in August, the dollar against the Zimbabwe currency exploded again and up over a 10-year period, 11,248%. That's a pretty good protection, right? But here is spot silver versus the Zimbabwe currency in that same time frame. You see the same pattern here. That same time frame, instead of the $11,000% growth, it's over 15,134.6. So silver has completely outperformed, even the spot silver market completely outperformed the US dollar, which is what most Zimbabweans are still using to transact business. I thought that was super interesting. What about spot gold? Well, there you go. There's spot gold in terms of the Zimbabwe dollar. You see, again, the same kind of behavior, but instead of 15,000.1, it's almost 15,000.3%. So spot gold has outperformed spot silver. Spot silver has outperformed the US dollar. What is it that you want to be holding when these currencies reset? This is a choice that you must make because quite honestly, These spot markets are all manipulated. It's really the physical market. If you don't hold it, you don't own it. What central bankers and governments want is for you to be completely and absolutely under their control and under their surveillance.
Zimbabwe's currency crisis is just the beginning of a much larger story, and being prepared is more important than ever. If this has opened your eyes, don't stop here. Like this video, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this with others who need to know what's coming. Lynette will continue to bring you the insights and strategies to protect your wealth in an uncertain world. Stay informed, stay ahead, and we'll see you in the next video.